I call to order the meeting at 4:32. Roll call, Rivera.
Yep, recording the time right now. This is the Student Senate General Assembly meeting for Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Now doing roll call. For Executive Council, we have President Giovanni Michelle.
Present.
Thank you. Vice President Administration and Finance, Kyle Brito. Present. Vice President Legislative Affairs, Maggie G.
Present.
Maggie. Okay. Vice President Senior Development, Annette Crowder. She's
Present.
saying that. Perfect. Vice President Public Relations, Michael Malone.
Present.
Perfect. Advisor Sean Lee.
Present.
Thank you. So for direct campus senators, we've got Senator Angel Avia. Is Angel on there? No? I think he'll come. Senator Sierra Brunner. Sierra, you here? You're not here yet? Okay, we'll just leave a mark then. Oops. Senator T. Clearwater.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Kodiak Kessel.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Danny Hurd.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Kennedy Washington, have you heard from him? No? Okay. There we go. Senator Cameron Wilkin.
Present.
Cam? There we go. Senator Katrina Willis. She's here, right?
Yeah.
Our name on the screen a moment ago.
I thought, okay, so you saw her?
It wasn't online.
Okay, well, maybe you will just wait for her to come on. and
Oh,
we'll- Oh,
I did see
Senator Katrina
Katrina
Willis.
online. I was talking with her.
okay. Well,
I'm
I'll mark
present.
her- Okay, I was just gonna say, maybe we can
I'm
get her. to type
present.
it down. Gotcha. Thank you. And Senator Stacy Brunner, I'm guessing, so none of the Brunners are here? Okay. Well, I guess they're just absent, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, we have quorum.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the previous meeting minute? Senator Harris,
Make a motion to approve.
is there a second?
I second the motion to approve the previous meeting.
Second by Senator Castle. Any discussion?
So where are we getting these? Because I didn't see any of these in the meeting materials, and I could be sharing these out, but I don't know where these exist. You published them online beforehand, or where?
The previous, the GA update, so this was the 7th, I believe,
So they're in those folders?
yeah.
Um,
Would it be better, for the future to have them, for the day of the next GA, that work better for you?
I think it'd be good to just put it in this folder. I just didn't know they existed. So that's usually where I look for it, but that's all.
I actually want to.
Vivian Carter. See you have your hand raised.
I know there's a motion already on the floor, and I guess I don't know if the people who made the motion actually got to see the minutes, because that was actually my concern too, and that's why I didn't make the motion myself. So I would like the people making the motion to consider postponing the approval of the meeting minutes until we've
Yeah.
had a chance to view them.
I second that.
Okay, now we have a motion already. What we're gonna do?
I withdraw my motion.
You're gonna withdraw your motion? Okay. You withdraw your second?
I suppose.
Okay, now,
Withdraws the main, doesn't mean withdraws like.
Yeah.
now what we doing?
Yeah. And that asked for, I did ask for our postpone.
Okay, Senator, you're.
Oh, this is for the next one for, I got ahead of myself.
We just postpone it for afterwards. Oh, sorry.
Senator Castle.
I motion to table the approval of the previous meeting minutes until such time as we have had a chance to review them.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah.
Second, thank you. Anybody, any discussion? Everybody was in favor of tabling the meeting minutes approval to until everybody read it. When do we want to put it? Until when?
Next meeting.
Sure,
Next meeting, okay.
that's fine.
Thank you. Raise your hand.
We've got 3 three online, four hands up so far.
Thing online. That's,
Like seven.
7, that's four.
thank you.
Everything.
Okay, now I did a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I actually motion to make an amendment and table the resolution piece.
Really?
Yes.
I second the
You
motion.
second the motion. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, discussion, can we still,
Okay, Vivi Carter.
I wanted to remove the tentative item on the agenda, for doing the, demo
Point
or
of order,
postpone,
there is-
table it to the next meeting.
Can you, can we, focus on the first motion, and then after we can move to the second one?
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, for the other bit of discussion, is this resolution,
It's incorrect.
okay. So even if we review it, it's still,
It's incorrect
Okay.
and it's not up for approval at this current time.
okay.
Okay, thank you. The motion on the table is to,
Table.
to table the discussion about the resolution 004.
It will need to be amended for next week.
Okay, amended on next week. Everybody was in favor of, the amendment, raise your hand.
Tabling.
Yeah.
Tabling.
I got four, with their hands up online.
Three in a row.
Anybody was against it? Anybody was abstaining? Okay. Now, VP Carter, you wanna make a motion to the table?
Yes, the tentative, item on the agenda for the, video that we were planning to do.
Okay, any discussion? Oh, who's second? We got a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Senator Aaron second. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't see anywhere where there's a.
It's an announcement.
It's an
Is it
announcement.
B?
It's an announcement.
Yeah, is it announcement B?
Let's see.
It's basically like, creating the video after everything's done.
Yeah, with the mock
Yeah,
parliamentary procedure, right?
Oh,
I just want to make sure we were clear on what we were doing.
understood. Thank you, team.
Any discussion? Everybody was in favor of table.
Katrina has a question.
Your hand up.
I do not, I'm voting.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Katrina.
you're voting. Okay, thank you, Katrina. Everybody was in favor of tabling, announcement section B, raise your hand. Okay, so
We have four, hands raised online.
yeah, I think it's everybody. Senator Stacy, the permit is going on.
Yep, I got that mark.
Okay, now consider the motion to approve the agenda with all the change before.
I moved to approve the
I-
agenda with the changes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Anybody was in favor, everybody was in favor of approving the agenda with all the change made before, raise your hand.
And that's four hands up again.
Yep, that's good. We're good.
Okay, everybody was against it, raise your hand. Anybody was abstaining? Okay. Now, next item, public comment, identity impact team implementation progress. Our guest is Lisa Mucha, Dina Heavy at 20 minutes. At 5.
At five. So. You mind?
I vote 2 for being back.
Like when.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
I'll start it when she starts.
Alright. So I can't, it doesn't look like Deanna has joined online. She-
Oh, yeah, I saw. her.
Oh, is she?
She is here.
Okay, perfect. So she is available to ask, she'll help with kind of answering questions and monitoring the chat. But we appreciate your time this evening. We wanted to come and share some information with you related to some of the implementation work that we're doing as a result of an identity impact project. And so we're going to just share some background, kind of talk through some of the completed projects, and then let you know some of our work in progress. If at any time you have questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, I do have a slide at the end where I will accept your questions at that time. So there was a team that was assembled in May 2021, and it did include college employees as well as students who worked together to make recommendations to how to transition the college from the binary view of gender to a more inclusive approach. And as I mentioned, the team was comprised of representatives across the Madison College district, including students, faculty, staff, and managers. At the time the project was initiated, Deanna Havey was identified as a project manager, and she worked with two other team members, Bill Doherty and Kate Jenkinson, in order to move some of the work, identify what the recommendations would be. I joined the project in the fall of 2023, really to assist with the implementation effort. So we had a list of recommendations, and then Deanna and I have worked together since fall of 2023 to really outline how to move forward with the recommendations. Some of the items that were identified on the project and have been included or implemented to date are the additional student data fields in PeopleSoft. So in the fall, there were new fields that students could update and verify, including gender identity, caregiver status, education, and career intent. Along with that field, there was some new language that was implemented related to opting in and explaining why the college was gathering the data and how it would be used. And students have the ability to give permission for departments to be able to use the data to plan intentional outreach, communication, and develop and promote inclusive programming.
Senator Clearwater.
Yeah, in regards to PeopleSoft and everything, I've heard from another faculty member that there's been translational issues in the software when it came to what it collects and how it translates it back to the faculty side. Are you aware of that issue?
I was not, no. Is that something that a faculty member shared in class or kind of working with students?
It's more or less that we have a kind of like an ongoing dialogue about a lot of topics. This would be Julia from the honors program. She brought this to my attention during a casual conversation, and I've been trying to bring it up when applicable, just to try to make sure that, you know, when we can bring awareness to this, that we are, if it's not already known. Just because it seems like you might have the potential to address, you know, those concerns and take a better look at it to see if there are issues with that being reflected correctly.
Yes, and I mean, I can follow up with Julia, and I know that we are in the process, and one of the projects that I'll share about is really putting guidelines out to better communicate and outline when individuals are making the changes to name and use and how they're populated in college systems. And so so the name and use requests, that is something that has been implemented. That was not necessarily a result of this project. There is a self-service feature that was established within the enrollment services to provide opportunity for students to make the name change request. We are currently providing some, additional work around communicating more broadly about this opportunity. And that's what the guidelines will do, but I'm happy to follow up with Julia to understand what the concerns or challenges that they are experiencing might be.
Appreciate it.
And so, so those are the projects that have been happening. We are currently with that work, moving forward with other updates. So the first one that I've identified is the one card policy. The college cabinet recently approved the recommendation to provide the opportunity for name and use to be presented on student one card IDs. And so students who are registering for the fall 2024 semester will now have the ability to have name and use printed on the one card as sort of the standard. If there were interest for individuals to have legal name instead, that would be a choice. But otherwise, the standard will be name and use and legal last name. Yes.
Could you clarify when that did or will go in fact?
It will be for students registering for the fall 2024 semester. So we will be communicating that it is an opportunity as soon as May for individuals to be able to, anyone who's a current student and would like to have name and use printed on their one card will have the opportunity at no cost to have that done. For then newly registering students, that will be kind of standard process, including those students who may come to the college to do advising and registration. But we will be announcing to the college community right after graduation that will be an opportunity. So we're currently working on the systems to have that in effect. Under 18 data restrictions, there is some work happening related to parental permission being required because of state law and regulations that students under 18 who want to update name and use or gender identity will need parental permission for that. But working through how they would provide that permission and be collected so that those students are also able to update that within college systems.
Okay, Senator, Senator Clearwater, and then Vivi.
Yeah, actually, I am actually interested in this subject, not in terms of the gender stuff, but in terms of my cultural background. Like I would like to have ideally 2 diplomas. Is it possible to have one diploma in my own, with my own language, my actual name, and a diploma in the English name so that I can show it to other employers and whatever. So like, there's like multiple diplomas.
I think that's wonderful.
And I don't know if Deanna is on. So I know that there is a project for graduation name. In that we are providing the ability for students to identify the name that they would like printed in the commencement program, as well as on the diploma. I would have to look at, for multiple diplomas, how that opportunity would look. And I don't know enough about how sort of the issuing of diplomas and how the college retains that record, for what that opportunity might be.
Okay, Senator Clearwater, after that, Vicky Brito, and then Vicky Crowder.
So through my work from the financial aid office, I know that there's ways for, people under 18 to, forego a lot of the parental stuff, by claiming special status. Would they be able to claim special status to, negate the parental permission for the name and use?
Yes, I can answer that question, Lisa, because I
Yeah.
talked about that. So if the student under the age of 18 is legally emancipated from their parents, we'll have to account for that so that that student could.
I
Take
figured that
advantage.
was the answer, but I wanted to be sure.
Correct,
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah, no, came up early in our conversations.
Yeah, Vicky Brito.
Yeah, something similar is that you can actually make a name change request legally without getting a parent's permission if you're under the age of 18. If you claim a different type of special status, if it's like an abusive situation or if it's a dangerous situation. So how are we going to be taking that into account? Because what if a student wants to, embrace their identity and then, live their certain way at school, and then they have that at school and then it gets sent to the home and they're like, what are you using this name for? Then it sparks an entire conversation at home that maybe they wanted to avoid in the first place, all because they just wanted to live out the identity they wanted to at school, and now it's coming to home and now it's causing another issue, which can really get in the way of their learning.
I will echo that. That was in part what I was concerned about as well.
Just something to consider.
Okay,
And I know that there were conversations, and I'm not as involved with the PeopleSoft and the, Deanna has been more involved working sort of on the PeopleSoft side with the under 18 requirements. But we did have conversations about mail and how mail is sent to individuals at home when with the name in use and once the name changes. So I could get that information and report back, and I don't know
Okay.
if you know that offhand.
I do.
But I do know that there were some conversations and even, with the registrar on early about that, because making sure, I think partly that individuals are informed so that they know when they submit the name and use request, where within college systems it will change and how that will impact, what communications that may be sent to your identified address, permanent address, and so forth.
Vicky Crowder.
Thank you. I guess I was just wondering, how does the FERPA apply with this? Because I know as a parent, I was just trying to pay my son's bill and I couldn't even get his bill information. So I guess I'm wondering why the parents get to say yes or no about a name change. And I also have a stepchild that went through the process of doing the name change at the age of 15 through the legal court system, and that did not require a parent approval.
So I can only speak to what our general counsel for the college advised us on. And the advice was, given laws and court decisions, that those students who are under the age of 18, generally speaking, you should seek parental permission. Now, we've got the issue of emancipation status. That can be an off-ramp. We can talk to legal counsel about these other issues that I'm not familiar with, but that's what legal counsel's for. So that was, again, we're using legal advice because we have a responsibility to mitigate legal risk to the institution.
Okay. Thank you.
And if a student under the age of 18 has legally changed their name, that would be a different case also. So that would then
Be the legal name.
be the legal name, and so there wouldn't be the additional parental permission.
Okay.
And so that is one that, as we're sort of moving forward with the one card policy, we are working to have the under 18 data restrictions in place in order to meet our timeline for the one card policy changes. Graduation name, student life, And this is not specifically a project of the identity impact team, but it is something that we're working with Student Life on because of the other recommendations that Student Life is in the process of creating a process by which students will have the ability to request name and use or printed on the diploma or in the commencement program. And that will be detailed in our name and use guidelines as far as how that happens. So with the emails that come out at time of graduation, that is what they're currently looking at, how to implement that opportunity.
Sorry for interrupting you again. Whom in Student Life would be best to go to have a conversation following up with the name and use with the, in conjunction with diplomas? Just because I have a simple suggestion and I like to just take it there. It sounds like that might be the best place.
Yes.
I'll say Scarlett, but don't hold me to it because her role has changed.
Yeah.
But she was involved with this broad team initially from Student Life, but if she tells you to go to her colleague, she'll tell you.
It's either Scarlett or Ellie, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Just wanted to like be sure, more certain.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then the name and use guidelines,
Okay.
we have drafted guidelines that just identify the college's expectations related to students and employees recognizing and using name in use. It also identifies where the name and use will be populated within college systems and where we will continue to require legal name. Those will be published at the time the one card policy changes are provided and accessible on the college's website. It also identifies recommendations related to where to go if you have a challenge, a question, a concern related to experience with using name and use, and if someone is not honoring your name and use in the classroom, for example. Inclusive restrooms. We are looking at opportunities, additional opportunities for individuals to access gender inclusive restrooms across campuses. We are kind of finalizing a proposal to go to cabinet related to opportunities for doing this along with an implementation timeline. We are looking at sort of an immediate potential solution or a relatively soon solution, as well as the college is constructing new facilities and updating facilities, how might we incorporate a design in college projects related to restrooms that would incorporate inclusive restroom design as part of the design process.
That's raising our hand.
And that,
Vivi Cronin.
I know that I was just wondering how much time do you need for your presentation yet? Since we've been killing you with questions, just so I can
yeah,
make a proposal
Make a
to
motion
extend
to
the time
extend.
limit.
yeah.
Sorry, this is my Workday data field is my last one.
Okay, then I make a motion to extend for 8 minutes.
Sure, second.
And everybody was in favor of extending the time to 8 minutes, raise your hand.
Good. Hands up on mine, 5 hands up on mine now.
5, we just have to count it at 6.
Yeah.
And so the last one, this applies to employees, including student employees. The college is working to expand, similar to the demographic data fields that were enhanced for students last fall, to provide similar updates for employees as related to gender, military status, disability status, and race, ethnicity. Those we are hoping will be implemented around May. of this semester.
I have a question about the workday data fields.
Yes.
You say race and ethnicity, do you focus on the 6 race or like, or you just, because sometimes it's like sometimes it's not easy for some of us to identify as a race or ethnicity, because it's like, I'm from Haiti, we are the Caribbean, we should be Latino, but we don't speak Spanish. And I'm not from Africa, I don't want to put Africa, or I'm not, like, it's sometimes it's not easy, just
Yeah.
how this gonna work.
So for the employees, the race ethnicity, it will be aligned with federal reporting requirements, which is individuals identify Hispanic is the first option, and then they identify standard, kind of more standard race ethnicity options. However, the change, because we had explored being able to allow individuals to select from a broader category, but because the college has to report the information to the federal government, we did not, what we did is decided to keep it based on what we're required to do. And then there is an additional data field that's being entered where individuals can describe how they identify as a separate option. So if individuals want to share additional detail, they have the ability to do that also. And that's currently because of the way that the Workday software that we use is created. It doesn't allow options. There's limits in how we can configure it, if that makes sense. So we have the ability to gather some additional data. However, we're using based on what we need to report up.
To be credited, and that's not a, and it's not a.
Thank you. So, so I know a student that identifies as Black and Puerto Rican, and then like my son identifies as Indigenous and Black. Do they get to select both of those online, or do they only they have to choose one?
So individuals are able to select more than one based on what options are available. I don't have, I could look up for you if you wanted what the specific options are. Individuals also have the ability to identify as multiracial, and I also recognize that there are individuals who may want to report in that way or may not. And so for this one, which is specific to employees, we were trying to identify how could we be able to allow individuals to express their racial ethnic identity in the way that they wanted to do so.
And I think like with my son, like he would choose, if I don't think there's Indigenous in the system, I think it's Native American. I guess I'm just trying to make sure that when the school is like doing a search and they're trying to identify like what students are Black, what students are Indigenous, the fact that he qualifies under both because his mom is Black and his dad is Native American, I want to make sure that he gets those opportunities that are available for those students. And like the student I was mentioning that's Puerto Rican, I'm sure they would qualify as Latina X or whatever the current term is. I apologize for not knowing. Thank you. And then Black. So it's the same type of thing that I'm trying to make sure of. I don't know if necessarily the wording is wrong. I just want to make sure that they're able to choose both because maybe they have two parents that are two different nationalities. Or if not, just something to keep in mind.
Okay, Senator Air, and then after that, Senator Castle.
Yeah, I'm more like, I'm still am interested in sort of this, but like my issue is, just the realities or the logistics or like, in terms of, if I gave everyone my name, which was my real name, Shul, but like, you know, like when giving out recommendations, when the, you know, faculty and stuff, like they know me by if I were to do that, it will complicate a lot of things. It has, have the team thought about this, the complications with legal and mixing up the given name, I guess. Like if a college, let's say, like I applied to, called in, you know, they said, did Shul come here? Nobody will know who, you know, who the hell Shul is, but like my league, like just the realities of, you know, having like a internal name that's different inside the college and then externally as well. So I guess like as people thought about like this, the complications from it, I guess. Yeah.
I believe the system allows you to list more than one name on it. Like, I think there's up to 3 on it. But I get what you're saying, because as you were speaking, I was thinking about tribal names, like those go unrecognized in most places as well.
Can you call and ask about a person though? You can't just do that, can you?
No, we can't give away
Okay,
that.
Senator Councilman.
Thank you. So walk me through the solutions you have for inclusive restrooms.
Appreciate it.
So we are putting together a proposal for that. We are still working to identify what the solutions were going to be. There had been conversation about posting signs, letting individuals know that they are welcome to use the restroom that matches how they identify, or the restroom that's most comfortable to them. And so allowing individuals to access the toilet based on their own preference. Also letting individuals know where single stall restrooms are located, so that if they would prefer to use a single stall restroom, they could do that. And we are now looking at what considerations we need to make in order to recommend design, like a design proposal for what would a future inclusive restroom design look like.
And what are some of these considerations that are being taken into account?
We will not be outlining that. We will be putting together a proposal that identifies what we need to do to get to the point to create those considerations. So getting feedback from students, looking at what might be existing examples within the community, what other colleges might be doing, working with the college's facilities team, understanding what local building code requirements are. So we are going to sort of outline a timeline, establishing the design criteria, and then bring individuals together to create that criteria so that it would be incorporated in future design projects. Does that help?
Okay, and forgive me, but secondary question.
Sure.
Involved in your decision-making and your collecting of data, are dissenting opinions being collected?
I'll say, we understand that not everybody has a same understanding of the issue of whom is using what restroom facility in our current setup, where we have men's rooms and women's rooms, right? So we acknowledge that as a college, that's part of the planning work we need to do and consider to meet the needs of our entire college community. And so that is going to be a discussion. And as Lisa was saying, we've got to look at what do building codes provide for us? What do what do our current facility designs support? What might future facility design support? So that's not a solution for tomorrow. It'll, you know, be put into a capital plan that could roll out over years. And that's what we have to consider. So that's why Lisa's saying we don't have an answer today, because we don't have an answer today. Be perfectly transparent, right? Like,
Thank you
there's
for your
not-
transparency.
There's not an answer yet today.
Thank you.
We understand that there are, again, a variety of different opinions on this. And we have the legal considerations in addition to how do we, again, best support our community of learners and faculty and staff.
Thank you.
I think it's time. If you have any question, you can email, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a clarification for the record. So basically what I'm hearing is, you are creating a proposal for research into a preliminary argument for looking into the issue.
No, we are looking for how might we advance it? And so that's, like, we understand what the interests are, right? How do we have facilities, restroom facilities more specifically, that support our entire college community? And so we know what the issue statement is or problem statement is.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you for the clarity.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that was it. I do have, my contact information and Deanna's contact information. And just a point on the dissenting opinions, we did, had started to put together, and we would kind of publish an FAQ document when changes are made. And that would allow individuals to, sort of as an additional way to gather feedback and follow up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa Muka.
Yeah. I know that there were quite a few questions. So I write those down and I will, get answers, and I may look at the notes for the questions I didn't. Okay, perfect. Capture so that I can get back.
And it's recorded. so-
Okay, perfect. Get back to Sean with the responses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, our next guest is Dr. Tim Casper. A usual guest to us. Student Affair and VP of Student Affair.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope your spring break was well and you got some rest or caught up on studies. And I've talked to some students this week and they used it to get caught up on studies. So whatever you did, I hope it was of value to you. Couple of things wanted to update you all on. Late in the calendar year, there was a technology summit. Students participated in that, focused on the Technology Access Program. I'm talking to Paul Thomas, who is the Technology Services Director of Operations, so help desk. The Technology Access Program will now report to him. As some of you are aware, Ben Monty, our Budget Director, left for another position. Still sad about that, I'll say. And the program previously reported to him. So it's a transition of reporting to the Technology Services Operations team. That said, Paul told me that since that summit, in some of the issues that were raised by students at the summit, the library has put together additional training materials for students on how to use the systems and now holds regular training sessions for students. The goal is to provide these on an annual basis, particularly around the time of enrollment when students might be picking up their hardware. With regard to the sign up, he says that for students who are interested in participating in the program, they're continuing to improve the process to make it easier for students to enroll. So for example, they're taking some of the documentation of the terms of the agreement that you have, translating them into Spanish, Hmong, French, and Arabic, as those are high demand other languages, particularly for our School of Academic Advancement where ESL students participate. They are also working with the ESL instructors to create a different pickup process from the, I'll call it the general student population, so that those students who English is not their primary language can get some support with beginning to use their hardware as well as associated software. Question?
Yeah, I guess for the Hmong language, so you'll know better, Danny, so back me up or put me out if you think this is wrong, but I've heard with the city, they actually, whenever they do that, they have Hmong live translation because they found it's more valuable to have someone speak it than it is to have it written down. So what do you think, Danny? Is that something that should be more spoken? Or do you think it's better, or do you think it's fine to have it written, or do you think we should be?
I also want to weigh in on that one.
Yeah, it's either or, because a lot of it's because a lot of the young generation, they don't really know the reading as well. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm whatever.
Okay, just curious. Something to consider.
Yeah, whatever.
In interest in that same vein, many indigenous communities are actually opposed to written language for our language. So it would be appreciated for indigenous communities if in the future it were to be translated in any regards, that the priority is based on a verbal translation and not written one. Many communities still refuse to even adopt the written language. So that should be taken into consideration when dealing with tribal nations.
Thank you.
I feel like we have languages where it's better speaking than written.
Definitely.
For me, Like I have an example at work. They, like my mom, my brother, everybody work there. They don't speak English very well. They have to translate for them.
Mhm.
And when they translated in Creole, and I was like, I don't understand what I don't understand what they write, you know? Yeah. That's something we have to take in consideration when you're trying to, yeah, we're trying to help a student understand, but the translation should be able to make the student understand, not confuse them.
Thank you. I'll share with the team.
Okay.
Final thing from that group, there's also discussion back in, at the summit, of creating a more singular stop, place, physical place for students to pick up the equipment. So that is being explored. Could be, in the gateway, either next to, on the second floor or third floor, by libraries or student achievement centers where space is being considered. They also want that location to be able to assist students who have, issues with the billing, not so much the support that, you know, on how to use the equipment, although that's important, but the library staff serves as the help desk for students, as you're all aware likely. And so they would continue in that regard. So that's it on the technology summit. Turning to the learning management system, I think you are all aware that the college selected Brightspace D2L as our learning management system of the future. Beginning this summer, there will be opportunity for faculty to begin to transfer their content from the Blackboard system into the new Brightspace D2L product. The product itself for students won't be using this until the fall of 2025 semester, but we will be, because they can't do mid-semester releases. Yeah.
Okay, so I was just trying to.
Yep, exactly. So
Yeah.
that was one of the things we learned. I don't remember all the technical stuff, and I'm not sure Deanna's a PM on that particular project, but there was an inability to start midway through an academic year. So that's why fall of 25 is when the new system will be up and running. There'll be more work, obviously, next year as well, making sure that we can support you as students as well as the faculty with operating in the new Brightspace D2L. Obviously, for new students in the fall of 25, they won't know anything else other than that. But for those of you as continuing students, it'll be a transition from the current state to that new system, and we'll want to support you all with that. So more to come as we think about how to support people with using the new system. Student information question.
Sorry, I have a question about Brightspace. Was there a preference why Brightspace over Canvas? Was there like announcement about that?
Yeah, so there was a lot of communication around that. So about 600 students participated in providing feedback, and there were a number of other faculty and staff who provided feedback. The products were substantially similar in some regards. There was a slight preference, as I understand, for the other product, Canvas. But when considering issues of accessibility, so our disability resource services team talked about it, and the Brightspace is a better product for those issues, so supporting students who might have some sort of accommodation need, and that's a better platform for that. And so that's what sort of pushed that product over the other product.
Recorder?
I was just gonna mention that I believe there were 3 or 4 senators that were involved too with doing the looking at the different options that were available, which were Shen, myself, and I think Inez. I can't remember who else, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that the Senate was actively involved with that process too.
And the library currently does have a LibGuide about the Brightspace project. That'll get updated with additional information, but there's also an opportunity to provide feedback, which might be limited at this point in time. But as we step into rolling it out, which probably is, you know, summer of 25, fall of 25, it might be an opportunity for folks to raise questions, have them responded to. And if we need to do more institutional support for something that a lot of students are getting stuck with, or faculty, we can address that and support that as part of the process. That's what I had on LMS. But we've got more technology. Student information. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, does it integrate the name use policy? It allows for that, I'm assuming, right?
It will, correct, right. We want to do the same thing we're doing today
Okay.
with the PeopleSoft product, integrating, feeding into today Blackboard, tomorrow, but in the future, Brightspace.
Good job. Thanks.
SIS though, so this master record that contains all this information about students. We had talked to the college community about the need to migrate from the current PeopleSoft product solution. talked about this in the fall. The PeopleSoft product is what's called a legacy product by its company, which means they're not investing as much in it anymore. It's also a product that is maintained on site, so we have to run servers and have people maintain servers to maintain that software product for us. We intended to go seek a cloud-based solution for Madison College's purposes of operating a student information system. And we also know from a lot of student feedback through SIS and other things that there are, in the present state, a lot of challenges with PeopleSoft 9.2, just from a visualization perspective. It was not a mobile-ready product. It was built prior to there being a mobile-ready environment in the late 90s, early aughts. And so that was another primary interest for moving to a different product. So a lot of time was spent identifying requirements for the new system. 3 different vendors were asked to participate in demonstrations of their product, really focused on the needs of Madison College. Those were Workday, who is the college's current HR and finance system. Oracle, which is the parent company of PeopleSoft, is building a new student information system that is cloud-based, and Ellucian, which is another vendor in this space, who is beginning to create a cloud-based product. Of those 3, only Workday went through the process of demonstrating their product, and we had a lot of participation again in examining the product, and there was widespread agreement that this was a product that was worth investing. The college identified a publicly bid contract from another college that we were able to, what they call piggyback onto. So we did not have to go to a formal RFP for the product, and that's permitted by our regulatory structure. So now that we have the product, the next thing we're doing is seeking to identify an engagement partner to help us. So we have a lot of talented staff within the technology services department, and of course, those people in places like the enrollment center and Dean of Students office, et cetera. But typically you onboard a partner to help you implement this new technology platform. And so we will be going out for an RFP for that service, likely early in April, and hope to have that approved by our board of trustees in July, and then begin the process of implementation. Now, there's going to be a lot of work done in this summer and early fall once that implementation partner comes on board. But the first time that anything will change for students won't likely be till the fall of 2026. Because that's how long it takes to transition from a current state to a future state with a system like that. There would likely be another second deployment of functionality in the summer of 2027 before we are, quote unquote, done with that project and in the new student information system project entirely. As a college, we've been seeking lessons learned from some of our sister colleges here in Wisconsin who've started implementing Workday as their new SIS. So we are going to try and take those lessons and apply them to us. And I anticipate there'll be more active engagement with students in the 2025-26 academic years. We're in that process of making decisions and figuring out how are we going to communicate to students, what do they need to do in this new system if they've been a current student and been doing some of their work in the PeopleSoft system or the software that evidences it. So that's what I had to share on that.
Any other question?
Okay.
Oh, before.
Just a silly one. I mentioned this when we were doing the meetings about it, but are we gonna have cool swag that comes with the project to get students hype about it?
That's great.
I'm sure it had to be mentioned somewhere in there because I know I was bothering them.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure that would probably be similar for the LMS project, which will actually kick off earlier, but duly noted. I think there will be a lot of need for marketing, if you will, as we prepare people for both of these 2 changes.
Oh, all right, that brings me a question, actually. I know we did, what was it, previews in SSI?
Yeah.
You thinking maybe you might do that? Might do a preview, before it starts rolling out?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we think about supporting the change management process, there will probably be demonstrations. I don't have a better term, the technology services department might, so that we can both support students with understanding and faculty with understanding what are the challenges. Like, you know, there'll be a package of like, here's things you need to know so somebody can begin to learn LMS, the new Brightspace product. But there might be other things that aren't done very well with that. So we'll want input into that. And there may be, and I'm not an expert in the LMS, that's for sure, there may be decision points that we'll want to collect student and faculty input onto related to the LMS implementation. So that would probably involve some level of demonstration.
I like to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was this, when you mentioned SSI, is the student satisfaction inventory?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I wondered about that, is like just something in the future to think about. If we could coordinate that around, like with Student Senate, we had like a couple of things ongoing with Student Senate. Cause like if we just made that work around like elections or something like that, like we could just do a one-stop shop, like take all these things at once instead of like splitting it up. Or maybe that'd be a bad thing, but something to think about at least. Sure. So we could consider whether or not that would be a good idea.
That's good. Anything else on the technology front?
Don't see any question on mine.
Okay. Update on facilities planning, in the fall, talked to you all about the fact that we are looking at remodeling the area behind the Student Success Center desk, so across from the cafeteria. Where we've got the academics advising services, the
Yep.
transfer center, the RISE programs on the north side of that hallway, counseling services, et cetera. So we're in the process of, working with the staff in those areas to say, okay, do these spaces fit? But then we're also going to move currently in the front in the gateway there's the payment center and enrollment service support. There's a front desk there. We're going to seek to have that front desk move to where the Student Success Center is so that we are serving all those different needs that students might have. So they're not making payments here
That's really
and
good.
seeking other advice here. So we'll probably be doing some engagements with students later in April when we get some better defined questions for students to react to help us think through the services that we could provide at that location and maybe inform some of the design work that will have to be finalized at that point. That construction will begin likely in December of 24 as we start the winter break next academic year. And during the process of this will be a little messy. Staff will have to surge to different areas of the college, haven't been identified yet. We'll work with our facilities team, but there'll be a lot of communication that we'll need to do to make students aware of, hey, service X is now located in a different location for the next 6 to 12 months, whatever period will be, before they can move back into the space that's being refurbished. It will probably happen in 2 phases because the project in scope is so big. So working with the facilities team and eventually the construction company will have more details as to how that's going to get sequenced out. But there'll be, again, a big push on communication to make students aware where those services will be when it's in this construction phase.
I'm glad that it's getting moved over to that area because we keep sending students over there. And then
Yep.
it's very easy to confuse the 2 areas.
Yep. Final thing wanted to bring to your attention, and there might be reports out from the president and senator about shared governance. So I mentioned to you all last fall that the assessment of our current shared governance system began in February of 2023. The college assembly this academic year, we facilitated a number of discussions about benefits and shortcomings of the present system. And then the assembly developed a set of criteria to assess any recommended changes to the system. The first of those criteria were, does it center the needs of our students? The second was, does the structure include a system of inclusive membership from the employee and student groups? Is it timely? Does it foster timely work? Is it accessible to the college community? Does it promote meaningful work? And is there active engagement of the college community? And the group weighed the first criteria, does it center the needs of our students, higher when we stepped into this conversation.
That's good. I actually have to ask a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do you have a definition on what the group felt would be definable as meaningful?
I don't think there's a singular definition that anybody came up with. I think what, as I process people's comments, so it's, other people's comments and my processing of them, is that they want to feel like if they're spending time 2 to 4 hours a month with a group of people, that what they're spending their time on is somehow contributing to the betterment of the college and in particular the student experience. But if it's not singularly student focused, the betterment of the college.
Then how would you go about measuring that in terms of success? Like, where would the feedback be for you to determine it was meaningful?
Yeah, I think it's by just talking to people. Like, so when some of the councils did assessment work last academic year, many, but not all the councils thought their work was meaningful. And and they felt like they were contributing something, however defined in, one of the 8 different councils.
Glad to hear. Thank you.
So there were some broad frameworks for structure. We were meeting in this room in February, actually, twice. Those different structures are, one, keep essentially the current shared governance structure, but make some process improvements. There was a lot of discussion the last year around process. The second was to form councils around the Vision 2030 college strategic priorities. The third was to create senates for the faculty, staff, and administrators in addition to the student senate, and then some sort of umbrella body. The fourth option, nobody has supported this, but it was put out there because it is a choice, disband formal shared governance. Nobody's been actively supporting it, just for the record. And then finally, at the meeting yesterday, there was discussion about continue with some mix of the current shared governance structure of councils, but maybe thinking about how to incorporate into the big SG, the formal shared governance system, some kind of focus on strategic priorities. So members of the College Assembly were asked to loop out to their councils and stakeholders to discuss these items in preparation for our meeting in April. And that's what I wanted to share. Although again, I know we've got to.
I just wanted to make a motion to extend the time by 8 minutes.
I was here.
Yep. By how many minutes? 10?
10 sounds good.
Perfect. Need a second.
Do you need to?
We need to. We need 10 minutes. Second that.
Second, any discussion? Everybody was in favor of approving, to extend the time to 10 minutes, with Sharon.
5 hands up online.
Okay, anybody was against it? Anybody was abstaining? Okay, majority win, to extend the time to 10 minutes. It's gonna be 5:44.
Do that for us, Kyle.
Do we have a question?
He said week, so I'm sure he needs something.
What?
Do you have a question?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just checking in there. So, yeah, I guess the thing is like, so what is this? Can you explain to me what the concept of the Senate faculty was? Because in my perception, without knowing anything, to me, it feels like an attack on the power structure that student senate is supposed to bring. So I feel like if you bring another like body into there, because like it's supposed to be shared governance, like the faculty already has more power implicitly just because the status of like education and like the role of instructor versus student. I feel like that's like an implicit power structure that's already set there. So if you create a Senate faculty, to me, that kind of just takes away from the power of the students because they already are like they understand things, they have knowledge of things, they have like the employee databases, stuff like that. So I just wanted to know like where did the idea, the notion of that come from, and who's supporting this? Like why was that even a discussion?
So so we were present during some of these discussions, and so they can augment or add their own perspective on what they heard. But it was our faculty, our full-time and part-time faculty members of the College Assembly who put forward this idea. And some of you may know, and some of you may not, right? That other colleges and universities do have faculty senates or assembly senates. And so it's not outside the norm of what a shared governance system might include. It just hasn't been the practice here in the 10 plus years of shared governance here at Madison College.
David Crowder?
So I was just wondering, when they were having the discussion around it, did they talk about how that would look? And the reason why I asked that is because student government, shared governance is a what do you call it? A law versus the faculty one. So I'm just wondering, like, how would their power balance be versus ours? It just feels like it would kind of, like it was being said, that we would kind of get pushed down lower potentially.
So my response would be, and this is true of all the options, so it's not just true of this one. So I'll take that perspective step back, right?
Okay.
They were trying to provide a direction for where we might go, knowing that there would be additional work to flesh out any one of the options other than the one that disband formal shared governance. I guess there'd be more work associated with that. That there would be some work that has to happen to bring that to life. And it probably wouldn't be done by a group of, there's 31 people on the College Assembly. You'd probably need some sort of committee or sub-team, whatever you want to call it, to take some of that direction and bring it to life. So I'm not in a position to answer what that would look like because I I don't know. I can draw upon my own experiences, but that's only my experiences at other places. And so I don't know how valuable that is.
Senator Aaron.
Yeah, just to add on, there's a lot more, I don't know how to explain it, like, without going to deep politics, but like, you know, like maybe a decade ago, like things happened and then like a lot of faculty were affected by it and then a lot of their power was stripped down and they also have their own, like there's a lot of interest inside there. It's like, yeah, different unions and different things and stuff and like maybe 10 years ago, there's a lot of actual, like a lot of like faculty actually resigned and what you see now isn't like faculty members that were not, I mean, there's a lot of like veteran faculty that resigned. So there's, because of things that happened outside of the Madison College, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Does the Madison College have a union?
Yeah.
So the historical perspective, if I'll comment on that. So back in 2011, there was a state law passed related to public sector unions called Act 10.
Okay.
And so that limited what public sector unions, including those here at Madison College, could do from a bargaining perspective. Part of the genesis of our shared governance system that we have today was to recognize there needed to be a place to have conversations as a college because the system of just bargaining once a year no longer existed from a legal perspective. And so part of that genesis of why we are where we are today with shared governance, which other than the student senate, when I arrived here in 2011, there weren't those bodies. And my experiences I might have shared with you all back in the fall was with the university system where, you know, there was always there had been shared governance since the mid-70s when chapter 36 of the statutes was created and discussed the roles of the students and the faculty and the staff in shared governance in the university system in Wisconsin.
Vivian Malone, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I do. Thank you, President Michaud. I'm just going back to the original conversation on it. Just want to make sure that with the shared governance structure, whatever it looks like, a combination of people or whatever, just that the student representation on those things is still there and that students are still able to advocate their opinions and voices in the matter, that, you know, we're still being heard and our, you know, concerns are still being addressed. Thank you.
Brito. Yeah, I guess my understanding, so like you provide some historical context on there. So maybe you could provide some like, just like, I don't know, just contextual understanding of what people's intention were for the Senate faculty. Because I guess when I heard Senate faculty, I immediately heard like, what are they trying to push back against student Senate? But when you explain the collective bargaining piece of it, so it's like, are they advocating for themselves? Is that really the purpose behind the idea of that?
I actually talked right before I went to the student senate. I talked with a faculty member that is pretty yeah, but like she actually before even knowing
Catherine?
no.
Sure.
Before even suggesting giving the you know, different directions, like she actually mentioned a faculty senate without even knowing, but like it is out there in the, you know, the ether that you know, there are some faculty members that do want to feel like they have their own interests and their own problems and they want to present it on their own behalf. Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so it's nothing to do against like, we need to like stop like the student.
No, it's not like a versus thing. It's like
I made it into that. Huh? Guilty.
I think we all had a concern that it would end up that way regardless of the intent.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Okay, I think what they politely want to say is it the faculty senate gonna strengthen our position as the student senate? Is it like, can we cohabit? Because the way I see it, because I'm part of the discussion, like they are, like some of them are not part of the discussion, but the way I see it is the faculty want some, want a place for them to voice their opinion the same way we have, we represent student. But I don't feel like it's gonna be, the intention is to faculty against student. I don't feel like it, but that's what it appeared to be.
So on the topic of empowering faculty, I'm sure you're familiar with the affinity groups and similar. What has the process been for trying to lift up the voices of the affinity groups and taking decisive action from their feelings?
As it relates to this broad discussion of shared governance, sorry, I want to make sure I'm.
So, the affinity groups are more than just a feel-good group. Sometimes they come up with strategies on how they want to proceed with the college, especially as a collective. Often bring together one collective voice. So what does the overall administration do when they do that?
So today, right, there are, through shared governance itself and through other just discussions, right, as a college community, those issues can be brought forward and heard and addressed. The purpose of shared governance is that, right, there's this collective understanding of what are issues that are priorities for the institution, and how does that collective voice of the students and the faculty and the staff and the managers provide a recommendation for something, right, that would address that concern or interest. It's not the shared governance, big S, big G, is not the only vehicle to satisfy interest or needs. It is simply a vehicle that has a more formality to it because it's shared governance. It's the college assembly, it's councils 1 through 8 that exist with their defined scope of work. But when we think about engagements with affinity groups or other groups, including the union, there are other means for them to engage, and they do engage with the college leaders.
Okay, thank you. I think that was like the time is up. But I feel like everybody want to ask more questions, but I'm gonna say thank you. I think you're coming back. Again,
During spring one more time. I don't remember the date.
You're coming back. We will have more questions for you this time. Thank you, Dr. Tim Casper. You all welcome to come back.
What's your business? Tomorrow, be safe. It might be
See
messy.
you tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yeah.
Yes, it be. Oh, sorry. No, I thought is it snowing tomorrow?
It may be.
Oh, that's what I was curious about.
Thank you all.
I guess that would be.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Report from Officer, Advisory Standing Committee, Executive Council, President report. In the Executive Council, we were talking about.
Coming back.
We're talking about, the resolution overall, but we're not gonna have a discussion about it today. The other thing I wanna talk about is welcome back from spring break. I hope all your spring break was great. You did it, like some of us study on it, some of us just do bad choice on it. We don't know. We don't know, but.
Why'd you look at me?
We all look to you now.
Yeah. But the other thing I want to talk about is if you are struggling in school or anything, you can just reach out to someone. We are a community. I feel like we have to say it. We are a community. You can, reach out to a fellow senator or even me. My door is always open. And because we are reaching the last stretch of school, like after spring break, it's all the way to finals. And sometimes that's when people are more overwhelmed. And some people are thinking about graduation. Do I'm gonna make it? Do I'm not? Some is talking about transfer and all of that. And just so you know, like I can be a, intensive year, I can just sit and just listen, and just not talking. And the other thing is we have to focus on the election. I was looking at the candidate profile. We have a lot of candidates and yeah. Yeah, I see we have a lot of candidates and we have to put the election. Next week is the election, right? Yeah, next week is the election.
At 9 a.m.
Next week is the election. We have to focus more. If you want a table, you can sign up at the sign up Janice, Phoebe Malone sent out. You don't have to, like, if you cannot table, like, table is like 1 hour or 30 minutes. But you can just tell your friend, tell your classmates, they have election coming. And, anytime you see someone, just tell them about the election, even if you're not running. But having a student know about student senate is a great, is a great opportunity. That's conclude my report. Any question for me? No, thank you. Administration and Finance Committee, Rita.
Thank you. The biggest things that are happening in the Senate Finance Committee are that we are going over the budgets as we usually do, but the biggest portion of the budget seems to be Skills USA. So one of the things that they did is they actually broke up their membership into multiple tinier little clubs. So there's like the Skills USA, like Diesel Club, the Skills USA, like barber and like fashion club. And then there's like another Skills USA type club just under Aaron. So there's 3 or 4 maybe. Sean, is it 4?
Yeah.
Clubs that are under them?
Yeah.
So technically that qualifies them for $20,000, which is 4 times the amount a normal club would be. But if they're splitting all their costs between them, then there exists the potential for them to, hit the max up by $20,000 and take over more than half the budget of what's available to all student clubs. And if we're all going to one club, that'd be an issue. It's not happening right now, but there's a potential for it to happen. And I do think that there should just be some safeguards against that. So maybe that's something to think about for next year, if we can, just consider the potential issues that could align, because already the STEM club does that with STEM Voices versus the STEM club. There's a club that's centered around getting speakers to come to the club. There's another club that's centered around doing science events. So like they've already kind of caught on to that. And if multiple clubs start doing this, then how many clubs are we going to have that have similar types of interests, but then they're just splitting the funding sources? So that's something to consider, and that I guess we'll have to look at. I'm not sure there'll be any changes, but we do know about it, and I guess it's something that we're looking over. And do you have a question?
Is that my name tag over there?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Vivi Carter, you have your hand raised.
So with the Skills USA umbrella, is that because it's like technical programs? I guess I've never looked at what Skills USA means.
So yeah, it's a lot of, these are a lot of the technical types of programs. So like people who are in automotive design, people who are in like diesel engine, building or whatever it's called. People in like the fashion types of programs. Like these are like trade skills. So
Okay.
those are the types of skills that are in there. But I can understand, like, it's like 4 is a little excessive, and they're not anywhere near the moment where they're hitting like close to $20,000. They're even, well, if you split their national budget versus their like state budget, like their state budget's way below 20,000, but like their national budget gets a little higher, and that's like a different type of conversation I don't have all the numbers for, but that's something to watch and see what portion of the budget they're taking. But then again, if they're taking it and they're using it for students, then it's like, who are we to say? So it's kind of like something to consider and look at, and it may be a potential issue, because like if students are using it, then that's the point, right? Like, are we going to say that La Raza took 35 students and like that's so many students? Well, it's for an entity-based club. So depending on how many students they're taking, which are a number of students, it could be good, but they also could be taking more money per student, like a greater portion of the pie per actual student they're using it on, which is something to think about. Because when they're going national travel, they use a lot of money for like all the plane travel and the rooms and things like that. So it's just something to think about that we're keeping our eye on. Yep.
Thank you.
And yep, that's everything.
Okay, thank you. This is my recommended picture. Job is online. Team Development Committee, Carter.
So team development did not have a meeting yesterday. I had to cancel it because I was not feeling well. And I think everything else I would probably cover relates to the upcoming event. So I will wait till we get to that section.
Okay, thank you. Public Relations Committee, Phoebe Malone.
Thank you, President Michaud. Only thing with the Public Relations Committee is to make sure that everybody is tabling this upcoming week for the elections. In addition, we will have tabling materials ready to be done for the elections for that week. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Advisor report.
Hey, we made it to, an election week, right? Crazy. So yeah, and everything's that I want to say. Yeah, every one of you have really been just, kind of, saying the same thing, so I don't really have anything more to say on it. Yeah, let's just, let's give it a good hell of a week and really push hard for one last big hurrah, if anything, for this last week to get some good turnout. I do appreciate all the work that you guys do. Even when I don't say it all the time, appreciate it. But yeah, other than that, was my report.
I was hoping to maybe get a little bit more of an answer and clarity on this. I just wasn't able to run into you before the meeting started. But what was the call on, accepting, and that's, so we can put that in there?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, cool. And just so everyone knows, like, there's an issue, then it had technical difficulties, and the question was like, well, if it wasn't turned in at the time, like, should we accept an exception? Because, like, is that being fair to everyone? So I think because of, like, the witnesses, I'm guessing because of the witnesses of her trying to do it and the technological difficulties of her trying to get it in on time, and that was proven, and that's why we're accepting it, I'm assuming. Is that
I
correct?
just left it in my call to make.
Yay.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Okay.
fine, but as we talked about,
Yep.
it's something we gotta think about on how we wanna revisit it for the future and
Okay.
run into those things. So
Yeah, so I
I
just
think
wanted to.
that gives it enough reason to allow it,
Okay.
for now, right? So.
Yeah, okay, so we can revisit that process later on, and I'd be like either us thing to right now, or we can wait till the next Senate, but
But you
something
can
to think
additional
about.
documents if need be,
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Report property.
Oh,
I had CED pros here this,
Vic Carter.
I was just wondering if there is an update on the advisor search.
Yeah, there is, I just actually told VP Brito about, sending him a message because it came in, during the presentation, I guess, right as, Dr. Casper was talking, but yeah, is an offer is made, it looks like, the person accepted it, is the person that, VP Brito, not the one that you were at, Senator Kessel, you were at the other one. It was the first candidate that was interviewed got the job. So
So the one that I was at,
yep,
so he got it.
yeah,
I do not like that.
yeah.
That's okay though.
But,
So wait, why did he get it? Was there some reason?
he wasn't given any context. So.
He was bad. I don't support this.
My God was better.
He was
This
so much
meeting is
better.
being recorded.
That's
Yeah,
fine
we're
by me.
recording.
I'll let him know my beef when he
I
starts.
think it's always good to remember that, from face value, it's always sometimes maybe hard to see the good true qualities in a person and how they can provide leadership and mentoring. For example, I'm bad at interviews, right? But I feel like I'm a good quality person. I do good work when I really get down to the nitty gritty of things. I think, just try to stay optimistic. It's okay to still have your opinions and views, but just try to give them the benefit of the doubt and have that, like Ellie made it, and the committee that decided upon that candidate, they saw something that was enough to make that offer, So optimism can always prevail, right?
I just hope to address the
Um,
issues with him
I
later
think
on.
Vic Carter asked, what is the estimated start date?
It's gonna be, yes, to finish the position he's currently at, and you're gonna be Whitewater, and that's gonna go to the end of the semester. So it's gonna be after, you're gonna have me for a little bit, you're gonna be for a little bit longer. Yeah, I think it probably going into, June to June, probably 15th, I will wait if I had to give an estimate. Nation right there is right around the time when the handoff is gonna start to really happen. All right, so yeah. but we can probably a little bit long.
Thank you. Thank you, Advisor Green. Report from Special and Site Committee, setting the next to the board. Very brief, it's just like. I don't think we have anything for student activity board because, we didn't have a meeting.
You said the last two presentations are gonna be done by PTK
Student life.
and student life, and then it's that the finalized budget is coming on our way, so keep that on the horizon.
Thank you. Thank you, Affordability Committee, Senator Sierra Brunner.
No report.
Thank you. The Regional Outreach and Engagement Committee, Regional One.
Thank you, President Michaud. No report. Our next meeting will be on April 5th at 12 o'clock.
Thank you. Transportation Analysis Committee currently vacant. Student Parent Support Group, Big Brother.
No report.
Thank you. Public Safety Advisory Committee, Senator Castle.
No reports.
When is the next meeting?
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Inclusion and Belonging Coordinators, Senator Clearwater.
Yeah, give me a second so I can remember exactly how I phrased things in my report. One I had set this week, interviews with the Clarion for two things, the project with the XR team and the tribal liaison, which I also furthered my work with them this week as well. In our communications, we'll be taking the next step forward. Again, setting also that interview to discuss it, and I've also set an interview to discuss the IBC as a whole with the Clarion, so we can get more visibility to what it is and really move forward with its presence here in our school. And in my report.
Thank you. Report from regional and metro campuses, Reedsburg, Senator Stacy Brunner. Senator Stacy Brunner.
Sorry, no report.
Thank you. Watertown currently vacant. Fort Lee currently vacant. Fort Atkinson currently vacant. Goodman Center currently vacant. Report from College Assembly Chair Governing Council, College Assembly Senator.
Yeah, yesterday we had a meeting and Dr. Casper pretty much gave the whole overview and my report.
I'm just gonna add to that, we vote on the IT.
No, we didn't vote.
Yeah, we vote on it.
What?
Yeah, we vote on the IT issue statement about when to drop, like, we were talking about the.
Yeah, for the agenda. Yeah.
Okay, Academic Council currently vacant. Diversity and Community Relationship Council, Vicky Carter.
No report.
Actually,
I
did you
will-
receive my-
Go ahead.
I was trying to connect with VP Carter on this prior to this guy's meeting, but our report from last meeting actually was incomplete. It's much smaller than the last thing, but at the last DCRC, we also talked about the beginning of a flag policy. The committee and various other parts of the faculty are looking to create a new policy for us in regards to flying them more than just like state flag, the US flag, and a massive college flag. So right now it's in the very beginning about trying to think of whether or not it is a feasible idea. So I just like to bring that to your attention because, you know, that might be a conversation that later comes up. Now,
Thank you, Senator Clearwater.
Thank you. Facility Planning and Investment Council, Senator Willis.
The only thing I would say is that, we gave, FPIC gave a, loop out during college assembly yesterday, but I don't have a report until after we meet again on April 5th. So technically, no report.
Okay, thank you. Finance Council, Guido.
Our meeting will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. So no report for this week.
Thank you. Information Technology Council, Senator Abdullah.
You won't have a report, yet. Haven't had a chance to get hooked up with Holly Lumens yet, so that one's on me.
Okay, thank you. Institutional Effectiveness Council, Senator Castle.
No report.
Thank you. Student Affairs Council currently vacant. New, unfinished business, no unfinished business, new business, identity-based student club, spring social, Victoria, 10 minutes.
All right, so I've been in touch with most of the identity-based clubs. And the Black Student Union is planning to have a spring social like we had a fall social. And I guess my question to Student Senate is, would Student Senate be interested in being a collaborator on our social? The social would be open to any and all students, just like it was last semester. However, it's being organized by the identity-based clubs so far, which would be La Raza, ASA, BSU, and I'm assuming NASA. I just haven't, I wasn't at school yesterday.
I'm pretty sure we are.
Okay. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity for Student Senate to be involved as well, as a collaborator, and potentially to get more information or feedback on some of the questions that we're going to be posing next week, from possibly a body of students we haven't been able to touch yet. So I wanted Student Senate's feedback and thoughts about how you guys would feel about that. The date we are tentatively looking at right now, or most likely doing, I should say, is April 22nd, from 12 to noon, which
that
should be
Thursday?
a Monday.
Tuesday.
But what day?
No, it's a Monday.
Monday. No, I
What
couldn't
is-
go to it.
What is the big?
That's the 23rd, so that's the Tuesday.
Okay.
I couldn't go to it, but that's fine.
Okay, will we have any comment with Senate? Do we want to participate? Maybe, Guido.
Do we have a financial obligation? Like, are we putting food fundings into it? I don't mind if we do. I just want to know what it is.
Sure.
Or- Actually, I
There,
guess I do.
no problem. So we have not discussed a financial obligation yet because I have not proposed to the identity groups the Student Senate would be included. I wanted to first check with Student Senate because I didn't want to throw our name out there as a possible collaborator and then them be like, you guys should have talked to me first or something. As
Oh.
far as amounts, with our social, so I've already gotten the DJ lockdown and the DJ is going to be free.
Wow.
And it's a really good DJ. He's actually a DJ that's won awards and he works at our college.
Wow.
And then as far as food, when we did the spring one, we bought pizzas for it. So I guess it would just be like each group potentially contributing either pizzas or maybe buying a couple pizzas or some drinks or something like that. I'm not expecting it to be an expensive venture since we are dividing up the cost. Yeah. I
Can
don't
I-
have an exact number for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can I give like a soft pre-approval number of $100 max right
Sure.
now?
Sure.
Yeah, so like just try not to go over that. And if we need to, just come back to us and then we'll look at the finances. Cause I think we should be good with 100 if we needed to, right?
Well, you don't have to write any legislation to keep it under 100. so.
Yeah, that's why I pitched that.
Yeah, just
I
to
can
throw that out
definitely do
there.
Okay, I remember I was at the fall social. We were having games playing, like, what's that gonna look like?
It's gonna look very much the same. We are planning to do it in the den again. We're planning to have games available. We're gonna have a DJ, but we're not gonna have Dwayne this time. We're gonna have someone else DJing, and we're gonna have karaoke with the DJ we're using this time. Oh,
What
and I'm sorry, just one more thing. I don't know if anyone has met the BIPOC person that was hired by Rise, and I can't think of
Oh.
how to pronounce his name right now. He's the person that's gonna be the DJ.
Cool, good.
Annette,
Yeah.
when was it again?
April 22nd.
Okay.
And the
From
reason
12
why
to
that
2?
date was chosen is because on the 24th is the Rise Gala, on the 27th is the powwow, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are really busy for me. And since I started this, I had to make sure I was there.
So, NASA does have engagements all throughout that week leading up to the powwow.
Okay.
So there might be a small conflict, so it definitely has to come up before NASA.
What time was that again? 12 to 2?
12 to
It's
2.
12 to 2? Oh, never
Yes.
mind. I don't think so. Okay, for you later, name it.
That's what I thought, so,
Thank you for clarifying.
yeah. Other
So
question?
Yeah.
Yeah, or is there potential to invite the Sexuality and Gender Alliance if they're interested? Like,
That's
obviously,
I'm planning to invite them too. I just haven't been
Okay.
able to connect.
I wasn't sure if they were like, it was like, if that was an identity-based club or
Oh,
not. I wasn't
yeah, I
They
sure.
are.
can go to it next week. I'm a member. How are you not a member?
I am a member.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So are you on the Discord? Or can you just-
I am on the Discord.
Okay.
I should wait for it.
Do we have any question? I cannot see the chat. Okay, nothing online. That's all, Vivi Griner.
I'd like to make a motion then to get consensus. I'd basically like to have a vote to see if Student Senate wants to be involved with this venture.
Just needs to vote by
So-
majority, doesn't need roll call if you want.
Okay. Do we have a second? Vivi Malone.
What do you feel?
Malone, I cannot hear you.
Yep, I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Everybody was in favor of.
I just wanted to say one
thing.
thing about the discussion.
Yeah,
This would be a first time, as far as I know, that Student Senate has done something like this. So I think it would be a potential, really good impact on showing how supportive we are to all of our community. Thank you.
okay.
We're gonna have a little discussion.
Yeah.
We're at the
Oh, okay.
It's a discussion.
Okay. Yeah, is it gonna be mandatory, correct?
Like,
No.
for you to go?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
No.
I can't go to it.
No, it would be great to have some senators there, but no, it will not be a mandatory event. I'm hoping that some senators will come, since Senate is going to be participating by providing some dollars, and the name, our logo will be on the flyer and all of that. And again, it would be an opportunity to even put up the boards that we're going to use next week to gather more data from students.
You wanna
Senate
move the
Council.
vote?
No,
Oh,
no. So you're saying that we'd be setting a precedent with this?
No, I'm not saying that we would be setting a precedence. I'm saying this is an opportunity for collaboration. It's nothing that's required for the future.
Okay.
Well, go to someone else and inform them.
This is more logistics, but like, when you publish the open mic, our logo wasn't on it. Can we just get our logo, slap that logo on there? That's all I really want.
I've already taken care of that. I'm gonna send a new flyer to you guys today.
Oh, well then, I take back my comment.
Okay. Senate Council.
I'm gonna disagree strongly with Kai on this one. I think we can be a collaborator, but I do not like our logo being on anything that's possibly politically affiliated.
Is it politically affiliated?
Identity, anything is politically affiliated, Kai. Let's be frank. We should be a non-partisan group.
it could cause definitely commotion. I'll agree to that. But I have mixed feelings with you saying it's politically charged because these are people.
Yes, they are people indeed. I agree with that.
So
I was not finished speaking. What we should be doing, in my opinion, is looking at things that we can do to elevate, not identity. But that's an important part of people. I will concede that. Be looking at how we can elevate students, not identity. Because students, yes, have identity. I will concede that. But the purpose of being a student is not,
They're not separate.
I
Senator,
would argue the opposite, Katrina.
Senator Willis, you have your hand raised, and then after that, VP Crowder.
Okay, so first of all, this is the issue that people of color always have, because you're trying to separate us away from being students and separate our identities. We all have identities. As a matter of fact, most people have multiple identities, whether it's cultural, economic, racial, whatever it is. What the purpose of that logo being there, we're not saying that Student Senate is actually promoting each of these individual identities. What they're doing is basically saying if Student Senate is supposed to advocate for all students, the sense of belonging that the students of those different identities, they know that Student Senate is a place that if they want to be a part of it, they can align themselves with Student Senate. It is not about saying it's only for these people. And on the marketing materials, I'm sure it's going to also include information that says all students are welcome. But these are the different identity groups that are sponsoring this. And with Student Senate being an organization that's representing all students, that's the purpose of having the Student Senate logo on there.
A well-reasoned point. Thank you.
VP Crowder?
Thank you, Senator Willis. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover, is that this is literally a collaboration. It is not a political event at all. It is open to all students, as was any of the events that the Black Student Union or any organization has put on. Even our scholarship workshop that we did last semester that we're doing again on April 3rd, it's open to all students. We're just bringing in the people to help so that students are able to write better scholarships. It's just being sponsored or collaborated on. And I'm just trying to bring positive visibility to Student Senate, and more importantly, for people to connect our faces with Student Senate. I think that is a crucial point that we tend to miss, and why some people know more things about what's going around at the school than others. Just like when you were talking to the diesel students, you went around and you were gathering information from them. Well, at an event like this, there's an opportunity where you can gather the same type of information, but now people know who you are, Senator Kessel, that you may not normally touch.
Oh, I did not meet your raise hand. Sorry, that's down.
Okay.
That's down.
Any other question or discussion about this topic? No, we still have a motion on the air.
Yes.
Now let's go to vote. Everybody was in favor of Student Senate, sponsoring or collaborating to the Spring Social, raise your hand.
We have 4 hands up so far online.
And then we have 7, that's 7. Anybody was against Student, Senate, sponsoring the Spring Social, raise your hand.
Senator Willis, Senator Crowder, your hands are still up from prior voting.
Let me correct that, sorry.
Thank you for your support.
And anybody was abstaining, raise your hand.
We know how.
Yeah.
Sorry, mine is stuck.
Okay, thank you. I think the majority have it. We have 7 students was for the Spring Social, 1 against, and 2 was abstaining because they didn't vote. That being said, Student Senate will be one of the collaborators to the Spring Social. Now, next item, non-business housekeeping, Senate election update, go to action. Thank you for sending the candidate profile. You're the one who sent it, right?
this morning.
Yeah, thank you for sending that. It was really, I was reading it. It's really helpful. Like I say in my report, we need to be focused more on the voting now. Like next week, it's gonna be, the voting part. A good question to be like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? I'm good. Do you vote in the election already? If not, how can I help you to vote? If you're not running, if you're presenting Senate or like if you want to promote your friend, that's the way for you to do it, be like campaign. But me, I'm not running, but I will just, show them how to vote, like, the way they can vote, Senator.
Is there gonna be a sign up genius or something so people can figure out what? Because like, I think, wasn't, Michael, like, you said you were going to give like, you have like some materials that we could help,
You mean, are you talking about tabling?
yeah, tabling.
Yeah, VP Malone has a sign up genius, created, and, VP Malone, if you could, put that in the chat again so that,
Oh, it's a chat.
well, I'm trying to make sure that it is put in the chat, if it isn't there already, so that, everybody has an opportunity if they can find the sign.
So clarification, the new tabling is to get people to vote.
Yeah. to get
Okay.
people to vote.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Other question. So was there promotion materials made, like neutral promotion materials that are not just like me saying I'm running or like, like someone else saying that they're running? Like,
Yeah, they have not been sent to duplication yet, but, it's something that me and VP Malone are actually scheduled to do after this.
oh, perfect. Yeah, because there's only, it only needs to come out by Monday because that's
Yeah.
Monday, 9 o'clock, right?
That's what's on the agenda tonight.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Call for application for communication coordinator is still open. Yeah, it's still open.
We had to say it every time.
Yeah, we have to until the next, announcement. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, March 28th, room C 2402 at 4:30. Anybody want to make an announcement?
Malone has, first.
Oh, you can put VP Malone.
Malone, are you voting or are you making an announcement?
No announcement.
Okay. Freedom.
Hi, my name's Kai. I'm running for president. Please vote for me.
Nah.
That's an announcement.
Okay, thank you. VP Castle, I see your.
Oh, okay, thank you. I guess I got a promotion.
Yeah. Senator Castle.
Oh, I got a demotion. Okay, I motion to adjourn.
VP Malone.
I second that motion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody was in favor of adjourning today's meeting, raise your hand.
I have to say, the three of us were on beat. That was hilarious.
Hands up on mine.
Three hands up.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep,
It's now for me.
Yeah.
yeah, it's open majority right now.
Okay, thank you. We move to adjourn the meeting at 6:20.
Victory.
We're not super upset with that.
Why would I be upset? No, I have to vote my conscience.
No, yeah, you should.
And-
Yeah, like, I understand. It's like.
I did
it's
throw the
like
open mic flyer in the chat in case anybody cares for next Wednesday. Have a great evening.